Shalom, brothers and sisters. I have returned again with another message. I'm here with Brother
How
Whitfield,
y'all doing?
and we're gonna get straight into some of these things about Nibiru. I know in my last video I was gonna cover the Kolbrin Bible and some things about Nibiru, also in the Bible as well. So we're gonna get into some of these things, and I'm just gonna read something that I wrote. And these things were written way back in about 2015, so I'm just sharing it amongst you all again. Um, the wise, versions, are bringing forth revelations, in this day and time. The wise virgins are preparing themselves, for the day of the Lord. The purifier is coming, you guys, and there will be a new heaven and a new earth. Only the wise will understand the mysteries of heaven. I'm here to prepare you for what's to come, and you must seek the Most High and prepare yourselves spiritually. Okay. Now, Wisdom of Solomon 7:24-27 states, "For wisdom is more moving than any motion. She passeth and goeth through all things by reason of her pureness. For she is the breath of the power of God, and a pure influence flowing from the glory of the Almighty. Therefore can no defiled thing fall into her, for she is the brightness of the everlasting light, the unspotted mirror of the power of God, and the image of his goodness. And being but one, she can do all things, and remaining in herself, she maketh all things new, and in all ages entering into holy souls, she maketh them friends of God and prophets." Okay, please, hear its wisdom speak. The days of darkness, people, is approaching, and the earth will be destroyed and consumed by holy fire. You know, um, the breath of the power of God, is alive forevermore, okay? Forever moving, in the flames of fire, okay? Is she not called the Holy Spirit, okay? She is a pure flame, okay? This is a gift sent to all of the children of men, one who purifies souls. Those who seek her shall find her, okay? She is hidden under his wings and is hidden in his eyes, which are like a fury flame, okay? Now, the Holy Spirit follows him everywhere, the Creator goes, okay? And I just want to let you guys know, I am one with God, and so are you, you know. I have seen all things created and destroyed by the power of God. For I have seen all his works, because I was by his side as creation came forth. I saw how he created, I saw how he separated the light from the darkness, and how he made visible things out of the invisible. His light shone across the whole universe, and the new creation was formed in the midst of chaos in the heavens. For the Lord forms the light and creates darkness. He brings goodness, mercy, peace, and all good things, but he also brings destruction, disasters, and calamity upon a wicked world. Okay, so I just wanted to read that off. That's something that I actually put together, just speaking from the Holy Spirit, okay, the mother of the universe, that feminine. Okay, now we know that the Most High will, send his son, okay, Yeshua, the son of righteousness, okay, S-U-N. Please keep that in mind. The scriptures has S-U-N. We talking about the son, okay? Now, the son of righteousness, okay, to destroy the wicked world, okay, in righteous judgment. And afterwards, he will bring healing to the earth, okay? After he passes judgment on this world, peace will be restored, and he will create a new heaven and a new earth, okay? Isaiah 66 verse 16 states,
The Lord will punish the world by fire and by his sword. He will judge the earth, and many will be killed by him. Revelation chapter 19, verses 11 through 15 states, Then I saw heaven open, and a white horse was standing there. Its rider was named Faithful and True, for he judges fairly and wages a righteous war. His eyes were like flames of fire, and on his head were many crowns. A name was written on him that no one understood except himself. He wore a robe dipped in blood, and his title was the Word of God. The armies of heaven, dressed in the finest of pure white linen, followed him on white horses. From his mouth came a sharp sword to strike down the nations. He will rule them with an iron rod. He will release the fierce wrath of God, the Almighty, like juice flowing from a winepress.
Yes, the earth will be cleansed and purged from all wickedness and unrighteousness as in the days of Noah, people, okay? I hope you guys are preparing yourselves, okay? Because the marriage, okay, will soon take place and the bride will be reunited with the king, okay? This is when heaven and earth merge, okay? Now, the fierce wrath of God, is always known as a powerful, destructive force that is, sent from heaven, and this is what creates darkness, on the earth, Zephaniah 1:15 states,
It will be a day when the Lord's anger is poured out, a day of terrible distress and anguish, a day of ruin and desolation, a day of darkness and gloom, a day of clouds and blackness. Psalms chapter 97, verse 2 through 3 states, Clouds and darkness are round about him. Righteousness and judgment are the habitation of his throne. A fire goeth before him, and burneth up his enemies round about. Hebrews chapter 12, verse 29 states, For our God is a consuming fire. Fire brings forth light, which is good, but it also brings forth destruction, which creates darkness. Out of darkness or chaos comes a new creation. The earth and the people on the earth will undergo a transformation, and the earth will be changed.
Yes, thank you so much for saying that. Yes, so, fire does bring forth, the light that is good, and it also brings forth destruction. So I just want you guys to see how fire, is good and how it is also bad as well. In the days of darkness, I'm sorry to say, but, some things might be burnt up. And it's a terrible thing, but with this purifying fire that comes, it's going to transform everything and make everything cleansed. Everything is going to be cleansed on the earth. Okay. So I just want all the children, of Israel, all my people to understand that, it's best to undergo, a transformation now, by cleaning your hearts and your minds, what I'm saying, to become purified. It is best to be purged from all evil and be refined by God's holy fire than to be destroyed by God's destructive fire that will be coming on the earth in the end. Okay. So I just really hope that you do receive, salvation, what I'm saying? Receive the truth, receive, the light that is descending upon this world right now, because a lot of information is coming through to our people. The Most High is giving his sons and daughters, dreams and visions, okay? And we must be able to, receive his love and his light right now, you guys. And I want you guys to clean your robes and walk in righteousness, okay? Walking in love, that's what I mean, okay? Walking in love, okay? That's what we must do. Renew your thoughts, you have to restore your heart, restore your temple, your body, everything, you guys. This is a time to focus on mind, body, and soul right now, okay? So I just really hope that, my people can really hear everything that I feel like the Creator is trying to, express to all of you guys. I just feel like it is the Creator pretty much standing at the gates of heaven right now and, just pouring out, his spirit and her spirit upon each and every one of us on this planet right now, so that we can awaken to the things of God, awaken to heavenly things, and become, spiritually awakened at this time. You know what I'm saying? But, as for me, I'm called, after Leah. I'm a daughter of the Most High Yah. I'm a lioness of Yah. I know that I am like this queen of fire. It's been known that I've, been coming into my whole angelic powers, my elemental powers. I'm one with the elements, okay? And, I have been awakening, to my higher self. Okay, I am humble. I'm a servant, of the Creator. I'm here. I've stepped down and I've come into this human form. Okay, and I'm very humble and I'm a servant and I'm doing the work, and I'm trying to awaken my people right now by sending forth these messages that is being downloaded inside of me. Okay, now I am a servant. Okay, so Hebrew 1:7 states regarding the angels, he says he sends his angels like the winds, his servants like flames of fire. Okay, so I want you all to know this. Even in Psalms 82:6 states, I've said ye are what? God. Let me put goddesses as well for my women out there. We can't leave the goddesses out, okay? And all of you are children of the Most High. So we are all gods and goddesses, people. I want you all to know that, okay? But we must operate in love. If you're going to sit up here and connect yourself to a god or a goddess, you must be, you have to be emanating love from your hearts, okay, to be in this, God-like status, okay. Now I'm here, and I know my higher self, but I'm not walking around on earth sitting up here saying like I'm better than anybody. I've been lowered. I've come down here, to take on this role, okay. Now, as I'm here, I will follow the will of my Father, okay? And I know I need to do what I have to do. I have to complete my mission, okay? So, I want you guys to know this. I'm not trying to create fear. I want to let that known right now. The things that I'm going to discuss about Nibiru, yes, it does bring some sadness. It does bring, like, it's talking about wrath, it's talking about judgment, it's talking about death, it's talking about a lot of things, a lot of changes that's going to happen on the earth. I want to let this be known. I am not trying to create fear. I want you all to know the truth. I want you all to be prepared for the things that are coming on this earth. Okay? Now, I know for a fact that, my heavenly family, is actually scattered out all over the universe, just like my earthly family, which is the children of Israel. They are all scattered out all over the four corners of the earth. We dwell in the stars, okay, in the heavens. These stars are heavenly worlds, you guys. These are other higher dimensional worlds that we actually dwell in and that our ancestors dwell in. And I'm here to set you guys free so that you can come and join us in the high heavens, okay? Now, I want you guys to, look now, towards heaven, okay? This is what we're supposed to be doing now. It's a lot of spiritual information that's being downloaded from the spiritual realms right now. In Genesis 15:5 states,
And he brought him forth abroad and said, Look now toward heaven, and tell the stars, if thou be able to number them. And he said unto him, So shall thy seed be. Genesis chapter 22 verse 17 states, That in blessing I will bless thee, and in multiplying I will multiply thy seed as the stars of the heaven, and as the sand which is upon the seashore, and thy seed shall possess the gate of his enemies. My family is all over the universe, as Sister Carter said, and we rule in the heavens, and we are truly blessed.
Yes, most definitely. Y'all need to know that we are all over this galaxy, man, for real. We are all scattered out all over the universe. We are all here, man. We multiply on this earth just like we are multiplied in the heavens, okay? Now, I want to just get straight into it. I'm finna go ahead and get straight into the Kolbrin Bible, and I want you guys to see if you see any type of, similarity in the Old Testament. Okay, now I want y'all to like look at this because the destroyer that the Kolbrin Bible talks about, I believe this is Nibiru. Okay, so we're gonna both of us, we're probably going to go back and forth because it's a lot of information. So we'll be switching up reading here. So we're going to start with the Kolbrin Bible. Now we're going to start in Kolbrin Bible. It's going to be chapter 3, and it's called The Destroyer, okay? From the Great Scroll.
Men forget the days of the destroyer. Only the wise know where it went and that it will return in its appointed hour. It raged across the heavens in the days of wrath, and this was its likeness. It was as a billowing cloud of smoke enwrapped in a ruddy glow, not distinguishable in joint or limb. Its mouth was an abyss from which came flame, smoke, and hot cinders. When ages pass, certain laws operate upon the stars in the heavens. Their ways change. There is movement and restlessness. They are no longer constant, and a great light appears readily in the skies.
When blood drops upon the earth, the destroyer will appear, and mountains will open up and belch forth fire and ashes. Trees will be destroyed, and all living things engulfed. Waters will be swallowed up by the land, and seas will boil. The heavens will burn brightly and redly. There will be a copper hue over the face of the land, followed by a day of darkness. A new moon will appear and break up and fall. The people will scatter in madness. They will hear the trumpet and battle cry of the destroyer and will seek refuge in the den in the earth. Terror will eat away their hearts, and their courage will flow from them like water from a broken pitcher. They will be eaten up in the flames of wrath and consumed by the breath of the destroyer.
Thus in the days of heavenly wrath, which have gone, and thus it will be in the days of doom when it comes again. The times of its coming and going are known unto the wise. These are the signs and times which shall precede the destroyer's return. 110 generations shall pass into the west, and nations will rise and fall. Men will fly in the air as birds and swim in the seas as fishes. Men will talk peace one with another. Hypocrisy and deceit shall have their day. Women will be as men, and men as women. Pasture will be a plaything of man. A nation of soothsayers shall rise and fall, and their tongue shall be the speech learned. A nation of lawgivers shall rule the earth and pass away into nothingness.
One worship will pass into the four quarters of the earth, talking peace and bringing war. A nation of the seas will be greater than any other, but will be as an apple rotten at the core and will not endure. A nation of traitors will destroy men with wonders, and it shall have its day. Then shall the high strive with the low, the north with the south, the east with the west, and the light with the darkness. Men shall be divided by their races, and the children will be born as strangers among them. Brother shall strive with brother, and husband with wife. Fathers will no longer instruct their sons, and their sons will be wayward. Women will become the common property of men and will no longer be held in regard and respect.
Then men will be ill at ease in their hearts. They will seek they know not what, and uncertainty and doubt will trouble them. They will possess great riches, but be poor in spirit. Then will the heavens tremble and the earth move. Men will quake in fear, and while terror walks with them, the herald of doom will appear. They will come softly as thieves to the tombs. Men will know now them for what they are. Men will be deceived. The hour of the destroyer is at hand. In those days, men will have the great book before them. Wisdom will be revealed. The few will be gathered for the stand. It is the hour of trial. The dauntless ones will survive. The stout-hearted will not go down to destruction. Great God of all ages, alike to all, who sets the trial of man, be merciful to our children in the days of doom. Man must suffer to be great, but hasten not his progress unduly. In the great winnowing, be not too harsh on the lesser ones among men. Even the son of a thief has become your scribe.
Okay. So now we're going to get into, we're going to go to Kolbrin. We're going to go to chapter 4, the Destroyer, part 2 from the Great Scroll. And I'm going to have Brother Whitfield continue to read on this.
O sentinels of the universe who watch for the destroyer, how long will your coming vigil last? O mortal men who wait without understanding, where will you hide yourselves in the dread days of doom? When the heavens shall be torn apart and the skies rent in twain, and the days when children will turn gray-headed. This is the thing which will be seen. This is the terror your eyes will behold. This is the form of destruction that will rush upon you. There will be the great body of fire, the glowing head with many mouths and eyes ever changing.
Terrible teeth will be seen in formless mouths, and a fearful dark belly would glow redly from fires inside. Even the most stout-hearted man would tremble, and his bowels be loosened. For this is not a thing understandable to men. It will be a vast sky, spanning from enwrapping earth, burning with many hues within wide open mouths. These will descend to sweep across the face of the land, engulfing all in the yawning jaws. The greatest warriors will charge against it in vain. The fangs will fall out, and lo, they are terror-inspiring things of cold-hardened water. Great boulders will be hurled down upon men, crashing them into red powder as the great salt waters rise up in its train and roaring torrents pour towards the land. Even the heroes among mortal men will be overcome with madness. As moths fly swiftly to their doom in the burning flame, so will these men rush to their own destruction. The flames going before will devour all the works of men. The waters following will sweep away whatever remains. The dew of death will fall softly as great carpet over the cleared land. Men will cry out in their madness, "Oh, whatever being there is, save us from this tall form of terror. Save us from the great dew of death." Now, this kind of sounds like some stuff in the book of Revelation, you guys. It sounds like a whole lot that was warning us that what's going to happen when the return of Nibiru come. This kind of sounds like a lot of destruction and disasters and boulders, things that's going to hit the earth. It's going to be a terrifying, time for humanity when these things start to happen. And this is what I believe the Kolbrin Bible is describing, what they saw, what happened during these times and what's going to happen again when it's seen in our skies. So, people, it's saying save us from the great dew of death. It just kind of seems like the same thing with these people running underground. Save us from the one, who is coming. Like, it just seemed like it's all coming together as one. I'm linking it all together. Now we're going to go into chapter 5, the Destroyer, part, 3, from the scroll of Adefa.
Yeah, it's Adefa. The doomed shape, called the Destroyer in Egypt, was seen in all the lands whereabouts. In color, it was bright and fiery, in appearance changing and unstable. It twisted about itself like a coil. like water bubbling into a pool from an underground supply. And all men agreed it was a most fearsome sight. It was not a great comet or a lucent star, being more like a fiery body of flame. Its movements on high were slow. Below it swirled in the manner of smoke, and it remained close to the sun, whose face it hid. There was a bloody redness about it, which changed as it passed along its course. It caused death and destruction in its rising and setting. It swept the earth with gray cinder rain and caused many plagues. Hunger and other evils, it bit the skin of men and beasts until they became molted with sores.
Yeah, this is interesting. It said there was a bloody redness about it, which, it says that it remained close to the sun, whose face it hid. So it looks like it actually came in front of the sun, you guys. So we got to think about this. If this object, it actually came in front of the sun, so this is what caused the darkness on the earth. Keep this in mind. Think about all of this. They telling us something, and then that's when the skies and stuff will become red. It's like reddish skies and stuff, and that's when they talk about like the blood rivers and stuff, because some of this substance was falling from this, and it was going into the oceans, which caused the red seas and the red oceans. Isn't that right?
The oxide.
The
they
oxide.
Call it like a red oxide.
They call it like a red oxide. So and people talking about it today, how they talking about this red oxide dust is going to be falling. And hey, they talking about it right now, people, on YouTube. These people got this stuff. They talking about it, and they talking about like this red, this oxide
it gets
stuff.
into the water, and that's when the trees suck it up, and that's what, if they've seen, like when they say that the trees are bleeding and stuff, when they're cutting parts of the trees, this is the water that the tree has taken in, but it's putting out the red water out of itself.
Right, and this is what caused the blood rivers and stuff. So keep this stuff in mind, because we talking about the plagues of Egypt. Remember that now. Remember all this stuff. Remember what Moses did. All the plagues. The water turned blood red. Come on. And Nibiru the destroyer was in the vicinity at this time. Think about this stuff, y'all. Think about it. Okay, now we're going to continue on.
The earth was troubled and shook. The hills and mountains moved and rocked. The dark smoke filled heavens, bowed over earth, and a great howl came to the ears of men, borne to them upon the wings of the wind. It was the cry of the dark Lord, the master of dread. Thick clouds of fiery smoke passed before him, and there was an awful hail of hot stones and coals of fire. The doom shape thundered sharply in the heavens and shot out bright lightnings. The channels of water were turned back unto themselves when the land tilted, and great trees were tossed about and snapped like twigs. Then a voice like 10,000 trumpets was heard over the wilderness, and before its burning breath the flames parted. The whole of the land moved and mountains melted. The sky itself roared like 10,000 lions in agony, and bright arrows of blood sped back and forth across its face. Earth swelled up like bread upon the hearth.
Okay, one thing I want to point out with this, it says, then a voice like 10,000 trumpets were heard over the wilderness. So this was trumpet sounds, y'all. We know about the trumpet sounds in the Bible. Think about all of this stuff. The trumpets were blowing. Think about this. This was a loud sound that was heard at this time. So the hearing of the trumpets blowing, the ancestors trying to tell us something. Keep it going.
This was the aspect of the doom shape called the destroyer, when it appeared in days long gone by, in olden times. It is thus described in the old records, few of which remain. It is said that when it appears in the heavens above, earth splits open from the heat, like a nut roasted before the fire. Then flames shoot up through the surface and leap about like fiery fiends upon black blood.
Oh man, this is crazy, okay? The earth splits open from the heat like a nut roasted before the fire. Listen, y'all, I'm talking about, y'all, volcanoes, okay? This is where your eruptions is coming from. Volcanoes are going to be erupting over the earth. I'm trying to tell y'all, I already done had the dream and the visions, and I will get into that on later videos of what I seen. And this all happened, and at the same time as this was occurring, I was actually in a boat on the river. I was crossing over to the promised land. I'm telling y'all, man, as all of the destruction was happening, the volcanoes had done went off. That was like the final, that was the final destruction that I actually seen. And then that's when I saw myself in a boat on the river. Okay, I was crossing over. Okay, I was crossing over into the promised land. Okay, you can keep going. I don't want to get off track.
The moisture inside the land is all dried up. The pastures and cultivated places are consumed in flames, and they and all trees become white ashes. The doomed shape is like a circling ball of flame which scatters small fiery offspring in its train. It covers about a fifth part of the sky and sends withering snake-like fingers down to the earth. Before, if the sky appears frightened, and it breaks up and scatters away, midday is no brighter than night. It spawns a host of terrible things.
Midday is no brighter than night. Oh my God. I'm telling y'all, man, darkness is coming on the planet. What about that 3 days of darkness people be talking about and stuff? So, it's interesting, you guys. Keep it going.
These are things said of the destroyer in the old records. Read them with a solemn heart, knowing that the doomed shape has its appointed time and will return. It would be foolish to let them go unheeded. Now men say such things are not destined for our days. May the great God above grant that this be so. But come, the day surely will, and in accordance with his nature, men will be unprepared.
Wow. What did it say? Men what?
Will be unprepared.
What? Men what?
Be unprepared.
So it's telling you that people will be unprepared for this,
Yes.
you guys. People will not see it coming. It will come like a thief in the night. People will not know it. But you know what? We have all of the signs right now.
We do.
We have all the signs in the world right now that shows the coming of this destroyer. We have all of the signs. We have it all right here, man. If y'all just take the time to research and look for yourselves, you need to understand what's going to occur. Okay, it's like we're leading up to it. Yes, this has been going on for many years with the signs, but he's given us time, you guys. He's not just letting it all come out on us like boom, just like that. It's happening over a course of time. It's happening over a period of time. If it all came at one time, we wouldn't be here. We'll be gone. Everything on the planet will be dead. He's, telling us, pay attention to the signs in the heavens. Pay attention to what's going on the Mother Earth. The Mother Earth is giving you all the signals right now through her own creation. She is telling you, you can see it through the animals on the earth. You can see everything. The animals is telling us something is wrong. You got birds falling out the sky.
Yes.
You got, creatures from the sea coming up.
Yes.
Come on, you guys. They dying off in masses. Like, it's too much going on for people not to understand. There has been, red rivers and oceans and things like that. This stuff has been going on, a lot of things been going on since 2011. It's been happening over a period of time. These are the signs, you guys. So you want to be able to understand these things and get a spiritual understanding of what's happening. It's no need to be afraid, you guys. It's prophesied, it's in the Bible. It tells us what's coming, and we need to prepare ourselves spiritually. No need to be afraid, if this was to happen, in the next couple of years, or who's to say 10, 15 years from now, whenever it does occur, be spiritually prepared for this. Have your hearts and your minds in the right place, okay? Have your minds and your hearts in the right place. Do not fear, okay? That's why the Creator is trying to warn us now so that we can understand what's going to happen. do not be afraid of this, you guys. I know a lot of people scared. I was scared when the Most High was showing me all of this stuff in my dreams and visions, and I did not want to send out the warnings. I didn't want to say the stuff because it was like people was dying, and it was death and destruction on the earth, and it was like the end. You know, it's just so much stuff that I've seen, and I don't like talking about it, but he wants us to know what's coming. You know, we have to understand how the Creator works. We have to understand that there are going to be times, you know, of destruction. You know, there's a time for everything. Okay, so it's not always going to be good times on the earth. There's going to be times when there's disasters and destructions. You know, we're dealing with a whole lot more. You know, we're dealing with, you know, it's a whole lot going on out there in the heavens that you got asteroids flying by. It's a whole lot of stuff that's going on, you guys. So we're going to get into, we're going to read a little bit more into it just to, you know, getting more so you guys get more acclimated with, you know, what was given to us, you know, by the ancients and what they, you know, what they saw. So we're going to get into a little bit more. Okay, so let's see here. Let's see where we're going to go with this. Also, let me just read something as well. You know, many people, you know, also don't believe that the trumpets are blowing right now, you know, but I believe, you know, that they are blowing simultaneously because, you know, we are seeing many signs, you know, in the heavens and on the earth. You know, I believe that the wise will understand and they will prepare for the day of the Lord. You know, the earth is experiencing a lot of things right now, and I just believe that it's just the beginning. You know, as Nibiru, you know, gets closer to the earth, the plagues will increase on the earth. There will be more disasters throughout the land. Okay, so the same plagues that have been happening, you know, all over the earth, pretty much are the same plagues that has happened during, you know, the plagues, you know, in Egypt. Okay, like the ancients, you know, have shared their stories of when the destroyer passed, you know, over their land. Okay, so we know that from our Bible that, you know, it was the God of Israel that, you know, brought terror upon the ancient Egyptians, and it will be this, you know, it'll be the same thing, you know, that destroys the whole earth in the end. So the same, you know, I feel like the same planet or heavenly body that the Creator used to cause the destruction, you know, in the beginning, it's going to be the same heavenly body that's going to still destroy the land in the end, that's going to still desolate the land. So he uses these things for his own purposes. Okay, there is nothing new under the sun. You know, I always have to, you know, repeat that there is nothing new under the sun. The same thing that happened in the beginning is the same thing that's going to happen in the end. Okay, so I just want you guys to understand that as well. There's going to be, you know, come a time, you know, when the earth will be, you know, in total darkness. And unfortunately, you know, people are going to be very fearful, and they're going to be really, you know, scared of the events that's happening on the earth, you know. And we know from the Bible that, you know, when this time comes, you know, look, it's just like you have to just be prepared for this. You have to be prepared. You have to be prepared for the events that is coming on the earth, okay? And I just truly believe after everything has, you know, being cleansed on the earth during this time of purification, you know, I just really honestly believe that Mother Earth will be renewed. Mother Earth will be restored. You know, she has to cleanse herself, and the fire is going to cleanse her, okay? And, you know, I just feel like all of the elements is going to be involved in this at this particular time when this event occurs. You know, right now, you know, we're also seeing that, you know, there's rivers, lakes turning red, you know, lakes disappearing overnight. We've seen bleeding trees. Yes. You know, you got trees burning, all these wildfires and stuff happening all over the earth. You got even volcanoes are erupting at this time, you guys. Y'all got to see something is going on with Mother Earth, okay? You got mountains actually moving. These mountains are shifting. I've seen videos of mountains shifting, okay? You got, like I said before, the animals are dying, and the sea, the waters is being poisoned, okay? This is like a form of like wormwood, okay? The water's poison like what? Wormwood, okay? And we're experiencing these like blood moons and stuff. You got solar eruptions and stuff happening all the time. We've seen comets and asteroids flying by the earth, okay? And with all of this stuff is going on, we also see an increase of wickedness that is actually, spreading all over the earth, okay? So it's kind of like, when wickedness is like to that high level, that's when you're going to see an increase in worldwide disasters. I'm trying to tell you guys, this all has something to do with, this is all energy that we're talking about. The more evil and negative energy that exists on this planet, you're actually attracting the disasters. Y'all, I'm sorry to say, but you attracting Nibiru here. Okay? You attracting the days of destruction. You're attracting all of this, okay? Now, if you want, love and light and all of this stuff to come, you have to be more positive. You have to show more love, and more love will exist in the world. It's all about energy. So right now it just seems like, we're trying to balance things out right now. Like, we're here, the light workers are here because we're trying to balance things. Look, I'm trying to tell you this. I'm here, and I feel like, look, we're here to do the work. We're trying to keep everything in balance. We've brought our energy here on the planet to try to balance everything out, so everything won't just be, going into a way of destruction. We're here to try to hold things in balance, to try to get the word out, to try to raise people's vibration. We're trying to help Mother Earth. We're trying to heal the planet. We're trying to heal people's hearts and minds. We want people to have new thoughts, okay? We need people to start projecting pure thoughts into the world, okay? Because things will start changing on the planet. We're trying to do this. Okay, so I don't know if you understand where I'm coming from when I'm saying all of this, but all of this has to do with energy, you guys. And we need to put forth more positive energy on this planet. Okay, but the more negative energy that we are projecting out, the more disasters that we are going to attract to us. I'm trying to tell y'all, you always wonder why certain places always getting hit. Well, if places are always getting hit by, tornadoes or hurricanes or floods, then apparently that area needs to be cleansed from something. Okay? So it's like Mother Earth is trying to heal herself. So if you caught up in the midst of this cleansing, I don't know what to tell you. Okay? So you need to try to raise the vibration wherever you are living at on this planet. Please try to, project positive thoughts in the atmosphere, okay? We all have energy field around us, okay? I don't know if you guys know anything about the chakras and stuff. Come on now. We all electromagnetic beings, okay? So we are all light and energy. So we really need to start projecting positive energy out into the world, okay? So, anyway, I don't want to get off course again, but also some of the other things that people have, been seeing. We know there has been an increase in earthquakes, in floods. There has been, hailstorms and stuff. People been seeing all like this hail and stuff, large hail. The weather is even changing, you guys. Weather is not the same anymore. Everybody is witnessing this and noticing that there is a change with the seasons, okay? Everything is off balance. I'm trying to tell y'all, if y'all need to be more in tune with Mother Earth. Everything is off balance right now. Okay. Even when there's like when it be like a storm, man, these lightnings and thunderings, man, it's so intense. you could feel it, like the whole house be shaking. It just be boom, and you could feel the vibration. You could feel the energy. Like, yo, I be scared. Y'all ain't gonna lie. I be scared and stuff when it start lightning and thundering and stuff. I be scared. I be like, man, I don't be liking all that stuff, man. But I just be feeling. I be like, see, that's the power of God. Like, man, that's some powerful stuff, man. That stuff, man, think about all that stuff happening all at the same time. That's fearful. That's a scary event to witness. When everything just start happening together, And when this happens, trumpet sounds is going to be heard all over the world. People already talking about they hear trumpet sounds. They're hearing sounds that's like coming from inside of the earth. Uh-oh. Well, I think what people are hearing is her shifting. That's just what I feel, because I feel like it's going to be a polar shift. I feel like the earth is shifting. A lot of stuff is shifting, and the earth has its own vibration. It has its own sound. So people are hearing the sounds of the planet. Okay? So, we got to be in tune with Mother Earth. Now, Mother Earth is talking to y'all. She's sending out these messages, okay? And I've been picking it up, y'all. I've been picking up the messages. So, y'all better get in tune with Mother Earth. And you better hear her crying out, because baby, she about to give birth. Okay? So all this stuff talking in the Bible and stuff, this talking about on the Mother Earth. So she definitely gonna be giving birth. And she is going through the pains right now. Okay? But anyway, people also have been seeing strange cloud formations in the sky. And some of them has been like really colorful. The skies has been really colorful and stuff. It's really beautiful, I be looking, I'm like, dang, the skies is beautiful. You seeing a lot of rainbow colors and stuff in the sky now. It's amazing, But once again, these are some of the changes that's going on this earth, and you got to understand what's really going on. So please look up to the sky, y'all. I'm looking up at the sky right now, and it's all these chemtrails. Like, it's just ridiculous, But it is what it is, though. So also, people have been seeing a lot of sightings of UFOs lately. So it seems like, to me, I feel like there's a lot of other beings that are coming to the planet, because they're being stationed in different positions because they know what's going on. Some of these beings that are here are helping us as well. Okay, so don't think they're here doing evil. Yes, they're, like I said, there's good and bad. Extraterrestrial beings. There's light workers. There's other higher dimensional beings that's also here as well. So we got all types of beings in the universe, y'all, that is here working for the good of humanity. There's those that's working against us as well. So you got to keep that in mind as well. Okay. So we're going to get into more of this Nibiru. And I just want to also say this to you guys, those who are aware, of the 400-year prophecy for the children of Israel. It seems like a lot of people have been saying this is going to be in 2019. So it seems like a lot of stuff is lining up. You got Nibiru coming. It's a whole lot of things that's coming. Okay. So we need to pay attention to all of these prophecies and all of these things that are happening. Okay. So we're going to get into the Kolbrin. We're going to go to chapter 6, the dark days. And this is just describing a little bit more about what's happening. And this is going to coincide, I believe, with some of the things in the book of Exodus as well, with the plagues.
The dark days begin with the last visitation of the destroyer, and they were foretold by strange omens in the skies. All men were silent and went about with pale faces. The leaders of the slaves, which had built a city to the glory of Tom, stirred up unrest, and no man raised his arm against them. They foretold great events of which the people were ignorant, and of which the temple seers were not informed. These were days of ominous calm, and when the people waited for they knew not what, the presence of an unseen doom was felt. The hearts of men were stricken, Laughter was heard no more, and grief and wailing sounded throughout the land. Even the voices of children were stilled, and they did not play together, but stood silent. The slaves became bold and insolent, and women were the possession of any man. Fear walked the land, and women became barren with terror. They could not conceive, and those with child aborted. All men closed up within themselves. The days of stillness were followed by a time when the noise of trumpeting and shrilling was heard in the heavens, and the people became as frightened beasts without a herdsman, as asses when lions prowl without their fold. The people spoke of the God of the slaves, and reckless men said, "If we knew where this God were to be found, we would sacrifice to him." But the God of the slaves was not among them. He was not to be found within the swamplands or in the brick pits. His manifestation was in the heavens for all men to see, but they did not see with understanding. Nor would any God listen, for all were dumb because of the hypocrisy of men. The dead were no longer sacred and were thrown into the waters. Those already entombed were neglected, and many became exposed. They lay unprotected against the hands of thieves. He who once toiled long in the sun bearing the yoke himself now possessed oxen. He who grew no grain now owned a storehouse full. He who once dwelt at ease among his children now thirsted for water. He who once sat in the sun with crumbs and dregs was now bloated with food. He reclined in the shade, his bowls overflowing. Cattle were left unattended to roam into strange pastures, and men ignored their marks and slew the beasts of their neighbors. No man owned anything.
The public records were cast forth and destroyed, and no man knew who were slaves and who were masters. The people cried out to the Pharaoh in their distress, but he stopped his ears and acted like a deaf man. There were those who spoke falsely before Pharaoh and had gods hostile towards the land. Therefore the people cried out for their blood to appease it. But it was not these strange priests who put strife in the land instead of peace, for one was even of the household of Pharaoh, and walked among the people unhampered. Thus, and smoke clouds darkened the sky, and colored the waters upon which they fell with a bloody hue. Plague was throughout the land. The river was bloody, and blood was everywhere. The water was vile, and men's stomachs shrank from drinking. Those who did drink from the river vomited it up, for it was polluted. The dust tore wounds in the skin of man and beast, and the glow of the destroyer. The earth was filled with redness, vermin bred and filled the air and face of the earth with loathsomeness. Wild beasts, afflicted with torments under the lashing sand and ashes, came out of their lairs in the wastelands and cave places, and stalked the abodes of men. All the tame beasts whimpered, and the land was filled with the cries of sheep and moans of cattle. Trees throughout the land were destroyed, and no herb or fruit was to be found. The face of the land was battered and devastated by a hail of stones, which smashed down all that stood in the path of the torrent. They swept down in hot showers, and strange flowing fire ran along the ground in their wake. The fish of the river died in the polluted waters. Worms, insects, and reptiles sprang up from the earth in huge numbers. Great gusts of the wind brought swarms of locusts, which covered the sky as the destroyer flung itself through the heavens. It blew great gusts of cinders across the face of the land. The gloom of a long night spread a dark mantle of blackness, which extinguished every ray of light. None knew
when it was day and when it was night, for the sun cast no shadow. The darkness was not the clean blackness of night, but a thick darkness in which the breath of men was stopped in their throats. Men gasped in a hot cloud of vapor which enveloped all the land and snuffed out all lamps and fires. Men were benumbed and lay moaning in their beds. None spoke to another or took food, for they were overwhelmed with despair. Ships were sucked away from their moorings and destroyed in great whirlpools. It was a time of undoing. The earth turned over as clay spun upon a potter's wheel. The whole land was filled with uproar from the thunder of the destroyer, overhead, and the cry of the people. There, as the sound of moaning and lamentation on every side, the earth spewed up its dead. Corpses were cast up out of their resting places, and the embalmed were revealed to the sight of all men. Pregnant women miscarried, and the seed of men was stopped. The craftsman left his task undone, the potter abandoned his wheel, and the carpenter his tools. And they departed to dwell in the marshes. All crafts were neglected, and the slaves lured the craftsmen away. The dues of Pharaoh could not be collected, for there was neither wheat nor barley, goose nor fish. The rights of Pharaoh could not be enforced, for the fields of grain and the pastures were destroyed. The highborn and the lowly prayed together, that life might come to an end, and the turmoil and thundering ceased to beat upon their ears. Terror was the companion of men by day, and horror their companion by night. Men lost their senses and became mad. They were distracted by frightfulness on the great night of the destroyer's wrath, when its terror was at its heights. There was a hail of rocks, and the earth heaved as pain rent her boughs. Gates, columns, and walls were consumed by fire, and the statues of gods were overthrown and broken. People fled outside their dwelling in fear and were slain by the hail. Those who took shelter from the hail were swallowed when the earth split open. The habitation of men collapsed upon those inside, and there was panic on every hand, but the slaves who lived in the huts in the relands and the places of pits were spared. The land burnt like tinder, a man washed upon his rooftops, and the heavens hurled wrath upon him, and he died. The land writhed under the wrath of the destroyer and groaned with the agony of Egypt. It shook itself, and the temples and palaces of the nobles were thrown down from their foundations. The highborn once perished in the midst of the ruins, and all the strength of the land was stricken. Even the great one, the firstborn of Pharaoh, died with the highborn in the midst of the terror and falling stones. The children of princes were cast out into the streets, and those who were not cast out died within their abodes. There were 9 days of darkness and upheaval, while a tempest raged such as never had been known before. When it passed away, brother buried brother throughout the land. Men rose up against those in authority and fled from the cities to dwell in tents in the outlands. Egypt lacked great men to deal with the times. The people were weak from fear and bestowed gold, silver, lapis lazuli, turquoise, and copper upon the slaves. And to their priests they gave chalices, urns, and ornaments. Pharaoh alone remained calm and strong in the midst of confusion. The people turned to wickedness in their weakness and despair. Harlots walked through streets unashamed. Women paraded their limbs and flaunted their womanly charms. Highborn women were in rags, and the virtuous were mocked. The slaves spared by the destroyer left the accursed land forthwith. Their multitude moved in the gloom of half dawn, under a mantle of fine swirling gray ash, leaving the burnt fields and shattered cities behind them. Many Egyptians attached themselves to the host, for one who was great led them forth, a priest prince of the inner courtyard. Fire mounted up on high, and its burning left with the enemies of Egypt. It rose up from the ground as a fountain and hung as a curtain in the sky. In 7 days by Remor, the accursed ones journeyed to the waters. They crossed the heaving wilderness while the hills melted around them. Above, the skies were torn with lightning. They were sped by terror, but their feet became entangled in the land, and the wilderness shut them in. They knew not the way, for no sign was constant before them. They turned before Nashari and stopped at Shalkoth, the place of quarries. They passed the waters of Maha and came by the valley of Pikaroth, northward of Mara. They came up against the waters which blocked their way, and their hearts were in despair. The night was a night of fear and dread, for there was a high moaning above the black winds from the underworld were loosed, and fire sprang up from the ground. The hearts of the slaves shrank within them, for they knew the wrath of Pharaoh followed them, and that there was no way of escape. They were hurled abuse on those who led them. Strange rites were performed along the shore that night. The slaves disputed amongst themselves, and there was violence. Pharaoh had gathered his army and followed the slaves. After he departed, there were riots and disorders behind him, for the cities were plundered. The lords were cast out of the judgment halls and trampled underfoot in the streets. The storehouses and granaries were burst open and robbed. Roads were flooded, and none could pass along them. People lay dead on every side. The palace was split, and the princes and officials fled, so that none was left with authority to command. The lists of numbers were destroyed, public places were overthrown, and households became confused and unknown.
Pharaoh pressed on in sorrow, for behind him all was desolation and death. Before him were things he could not understand, and he was afraid. But he carried himself well and stood before his host with courage. He sought to bring back the slaves, for the people said their magic was greater than the magic of Egypt. The host of Pharaoh came upon the slaves by the saltwater shores, but was held back from them by a breath of fire. A great cloud was spread over the host and darkened the sky. None could see except for the fury glow and the unceasing lightnings which rent the covering cloud overhead. A whirlwind arose in the east and swept over the encamped hosts. A gale raged all night, and in the red till dawn there was a movement of the earth. The waters receded from the seashore and were rolled back on themselves. There was a strange silence and men in the gloom. It was seen that the waters had parted, leaving a passage between. The land had risen, but it was disturbed and trembled. The way was not straight or clear. The waters about were as if spun within a bowl, and swampland alone remained undisturbed. From the horn of the destroyer came a high, shrilling noise which stopped the ears of men.
The slaves had been making sacrifices in despair. Their lamentations were loud. Now before the strange sight there was hesitation and doubt. For the space of a breath they stood still and silent. Then all was confusion and shouting, some pressing forward into the waters against all who sought to flee back from the unstable ground. Then in exultation their leader led them into the midst of the waters through the confusion. Yet many sought to turn back into their host behind them, while others fled along the empty shores. All became still over the sea and upon the shore, but behind the earth shook and boulders split with a great noise. The wrath of heaven was removed to a distance and stood upwards of the two hosts. Still the host of Pharaoh held its ranks, firm and resolved before the strange and awful happenings, and undaunted by the fury which raged by their side. Stern faces were lit darkly by the fiery curtain. Then the fury departed, and there was silence. Stillness spread over the land, while the host of Pharaoh stood without movement in the red glow. Then with a shout the captains went forward, and the host rose up behind them. The curtain of fire had rolled up into a dark, billowing cloud, which spread out as a canopy. There was a stirring of the waters, but they followed the evildoers past the place of the great whirlpool. The passage was confused in the midst of the waters, and the ground beneath unstable. Here in the midst of a tumult of waters, Pharaoh fought against the hindmost of the slaves and prevailed over them. And there was a great slaughter amid the sand, the swamp, and the water. The slaves cried out in despair, but their cries were unheeded. Their possessions were scattered behind them as they fled, so that the way was easier for them than for those who followed. Then the stillness was broken by a mighty roar, and through the rolling pillars of cloud the wrath of the destroyer descended upon the host. The heavens roared as with 1,000 thunders, the bowels of the earth were sundered, and earth shrieked its agony. The cliffs were torn away and cast down. The dry ground fell beneath the waters, and great waves broke up the shore. Sweeping in rocks from seaward, the great surge of rocks and waters overwhelmed the chariots of the Egyptians who went before the footmen. The chariot of the Pharaoh was hurled into the air as if by a mighty hand and was crushed in the midst of the rolling waters. Tidings of the disaster came back by Regeb, son of Thomot, who hastened on ahead of the terrified survivors because of his burning. He brought reports unto the people that the host had been destroyed by blast and deluge. The captains had gone, the strong men had fallen, and none remained to command. Therefore the people revolted because of the calamities which had befallen them. Cowards slunk from their lairs and came forth boldly to assume the high offices of the dead. Comely and noble women, their protectors gone, were their prey. Of the slaves, the great number had perished before the host of Pharaoh.
The broken land lay helpless, and invaders came out of the gloom like carrion. A strange people came up against Egypt, and none stood to fight, for strength and courage were gone. The invaders, led by Alcadon, came up out of the land of gods, because of the wrath of heaven which had laid their land waste. There too had been a plague of reptiles and ants, signs and omens, and an earthquake. There also had been turmoil and disaster, disorder and famine, with the great breath of the destroyer sweeping the ground and stopping the breath of men. And Turah gathered together the remnants of his fighting men, and the fighting men who were left in Egypt, and set forth to meet the children of darkness who came out of the eastern mountains by way of the wilderness and by way of Yethnobis. They fell upon the stricken land from behind the great cloud, before the lifting of the darkness and before the coming of the purifying winds. Regeb went with Pharaoh and met the invaders at Hirshar, but the hearts of the Egyptians were faint within them. Their spirits were no longer strong, and they fell away before the battle was lost. Deserted by the gods above and below, their dwellings destroyed, their households scattered, they were as men already half dead. Their hearts were still filled with terror and with the memory of the wrath which had struck them from out of heaven. They were still filled with the memory of the fearsome sight of the destroyer, and they knew not what they did. Pharaoh did not return to his city. He lost his heritage and was seized by a demon for many days. His women were polluted and his estates plundered. The children of darkness defiled the temples with rams and ravished women who were crazed and did not resist. They enslaved all who were left, the old, young men, and boys. They oppressed the people, and their delight was in mutilation and torture.
Pharaoh abandoned his hopes and fled into the wilderness, beyond the province of the lake, which is in the west towards the south. He lived a goodly life among the sand wanderers and wrote books. Good times came again, even under the invaders, and ships sailed upstream. The air was purified. The breath of the destroyer passed away, and the land became filled again with growing things. Life was renewed throughout the whole land. Care taught these things to the children of light in the days of darkness, after the building of the Rambodeth, before the death of the Pharaoh Ankit. This is written in this land and in our tongue by Luadar, who himself chose it for saving. It was not seen until the later days.
Okay, you guys. So we read some things from the Kolbrin Bible. I hope you guys can see some of these things that were written in our Bible, during the deliverance, of the children of Israel, in Egypt, from Pharaoh. So you can see hand in hand what's going on here, and you guys can revisit the Bible and look at the plagues. Okay, look at what Moses did when he went to Pharaoh and when he was telling him, to let our people go. See the plagues that were going on. And, the God of, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, was telling, or giving instructions to Moses to tell him what he needs to do. This all coincides with Nibiru, people. Okay, so, just by looking at all of this, it seems like it was some beings that was from this planet or this ship or whatever you want to call it, was communicating with the slaves. Okay, they were communicating with the children of Israel. So there has to be some type of connection, because the children of Israel, at that time, they were kept safe, and they went they went when Moses lifted up the waters and stuff, the ocean split. Come on, you guys, like, really. But you can see how it was like nature was helping the children of Israel. Okay, but all of this was caused from Nibiru, and they thought that Nibiru, or the destroyer, represented the God of Israel. Now, isn't that interesting, you guys? The Egyptians saw God, the God of Israel, the God of the slaves, as a manifestation. Please don't miss this. They saw the destroyer in heaven, this Nibiru, this planet, this object that came in front of the sun. They saw this as a manifestation of the God of Israel. And during those times, the angel of the Lord went down and spoke to Moses. So you got the Elohim, you got these beings that was talking to Moses during this time, you guys, telling him what to do. So it has to be a connection. It has to be. I'm linking everything together. I'm putting the pieces to the puzzle together for you guys so that you can see the connection. And they was thinking that this was God returning, okay? This is what people say as God returning. This is what the people was thinking about in the ancient times. They saw these heavenly bodies as manifestations of God. This is what they was, identifying God with. So the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob was identified with these Elohim, these beings, okay, that was coming off of this planet called Nibiru. Every single time that Nibiru will come around, it calls death and destruction. So that's why everybody was like, oh, well, the God of Israel is like, he's mean, and, he kills people, and he's destructive, and he's a God of war and all of this stuff. Every time this planet comes around, there's death and destruction. Disasters go through the land. Disasters is heightened on the earth. So when that happens, you guys, when this planet comes around, it's energy. Once again, for those people who are negative and evil is going to be increased in them. The energy is going to magnify. Okay, there's going to be more evil. You're going to see people for who they really are. People are going to be more evil, more wicked. They're going to be nasty. They're going to be mean. All of that negative energy is heightened by this energy that Nibiru is coming around. So you're going to see in the land, you're going to see wickedness being done, because all of the people, their energies are being, it's an energy transfer thing. So they're going to be negative. So all these people that are awakening into higher consciousness, these people are going to be more heightened. These people are going to be talking more about love. They're going to be talking about more about love and light, peace. They're going to be talking about balance, harmony. They're going to be trying to get people to raise their consciousness. People going to be talking about heaven. They're going to be talking about higher dimensions. They're going to talk about light body, light beings. You're going to see more people talking about heavenly things for those people who are resonating more with the frequencies of love. Okay, so I want to bring that to your attention. So if you start to see groups of people starting to war with one another, fighting, hate, just being real nasty, their mouth, like a real nasty tongue, and just cursing people out and just being real nasty and rude, those the energies, okay? That energy within them is being heightened, and it's just going to continue to increase. The closer Nibiru comes, the more evil is going to arise on this planet, okay? So I want you guys to understand this as energy, okay? So that's why everybody saw God, okay, as like this evil God, or people say that our God is evil. No, 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 no. You need to understand the elements, okay? You need to understand the way that everything works in this world. We talk about the 4 elements, people. We talk about the elements. This is all angelic forces. These are powerful forces that is the creator. The creator is the elements. So God manifests himself in all types of forms, you know. So God can manifest himself in tornadoes, you know, rains, floods, hailstones, volcanoes erupting, whatever, however you want to. It's a manifestation of the creator, okay? Both positive and both negative. These are elemental forces out here, okay? These are the elemental forces of God, of the creator. Understand that God is energy, okay? It's a force, okay? So once you understand that you are energy, then you shall understand the creator, okay? So whatever you put your focus and energy on, you know, that's what's going to manifest. So if you around here worrying about, you know, so involved in evil and death and desolation and destruction, then that's what you're going to see. That's what you're going to see. You're going to attract that into your life. All you're going to see, if death, destruction, people around you going to be dying. You know, you're going to be hearing about sad stuff all the time. Every time you go on Facebook, you're going to come across posts that all the people talk about people getting shot and killed. That's all in your community. That's all you gonna see. You know, switch things up. You know, once you start focusing on love and light and the higher realms, then you're gonna start seeing a manifestation of those things. That's what I was focusing on this whole time, man. I have been focusing on love and light, and only thing that I have been seeing, you guys, is amazing things. I have been going to heaven. I've been going through portals, opening up portals. I have been seeing all of these great things happening in my life spiritually. You know what I'm saying? I be seeing a lot of stuff, and I'm like always searching and seeking. I'm always, you know, reading things online. I'm coming across people that are like mine, like me. People who are light workers, who are out here working on raising the vibration of the planet. These are the people that I'm like, you know, leaning towards, because they are about love and light. They're not about all of this hateful stuff and racism and going back and forth. They're not focusing on that. We sitting up here talking about higher dimensional realms and, you know, how to, you know, overcome this thing. You know, we trying to return back to the heavens because we know who we are, and we just like, well, we down here, we trying to raise the vibration, but these people are not listening to us. They so focused on all of this other stuff. People are tuned into what they want to be tuned into. And I just want to tell you, the music that I'm going to tell you this. I do not listen to none of this worldly music I hear today. The only music and tones that I listen to is meditation type music. Okay? Meditation type music. That most of those things don't even have words to it. It's just really nice, soft music. it just gets me so in tune with the earth and gets me so in tune with the heavens. These be the times where I get a whole bunch of downloads because I'm focusing on spiritual things. Okay, I do not listen to all of this crazy music I hear. If it does not talk about love, I do not want to listen to it. And I understand everybody is not the same. Everybody want to vibe to certain music. Well, you vibe to that certain vibration. That's what you're going to be tuning into. All of this stuff is a distraction. When the Most High woke me up, he told me not to become distracted in this world. Everything in this world is designed to distract you. You have to find your way out of this matrix. You have to find your way back home. Okay? So if you keep vibing to all of this crazy music out here, it might sound all good, but if you listening to the words of what these people saying, you are in tune with what these people are saying. You are becoming that energy that they are putting in this music. It may sound good, it may sound real good, you know. They gonna put a real nice beat to it so you could be like, yeah, I'm feeling it. But then when you start listening to the words, you're like, hold on, wait a minute. What you say? Huh? No. That's how they get you wrapped up. They put a nice little beat to it. And you all vibing to it. You're like, yeah, I'm feeling it. Yeah, let me just put on some music. You know, I'm finna ride in my car and I'm finna feel real good. You know, it got you feeling good and it make you, you know, sometimes feel a certain way. No, people. No. This is pulling you away. This music is very powerful, okay? And this is how most of the world is being controlled. Through music. I don't want to get too much into it, but I'm telling you, pay attention to what you're listening to. Listen to the words of the song. If it is not talking about love, pure love, and anything that is like good for your soul, you should not be listening to it because you're tuning into the wrong frequency. Okay? That's why some people can't, you know, receive some of the higher messages that are coming through because you're tuning into some of the lower frequencies. You need to come out of the lower frequencies and dive into the higher frequencies that's coming on this planet. There's higher energies that's coming on this planet. And I have been tuning into those frequencies. And when I tell you my light body has been activating because I'm receiving these signals, these energies that's coming through. Okay? My body is changing. Okay? Like I'm experiencing a whole lot going on in my body. And, you know, it's really rough right now. But I see some of the changes that's going on. But I have been, you know, tuning in into higher frequencies. And I can feel it in my body. I feel like energy coming down the crown of my head all the way down to my feet. I can feel the energy flowing throughout my whole body. Okay? So you have to be in tune with your own body and understand that there's a lot of changes that's coming on this earth and you have to be ready for the shift. Okay? There is a shift in consciousness right now. So I'm hoping that you guys are going to be part of this shift in consciousness. Please tune into the higher frequencies that are coming through. Okay, if you are not aware of anything with Nibiru, the second sun, or objects appearing in the sky, just do a little research. You know, it's a lot out there. Just do research, you know. That's what I did. That's how I was able to find out about all of this stuff. I started connecting the pieces together, you know. And, you know, the Creator has been showing me a lot of things in my dreams and visions. So that's why I've been led, you know, to look at all of this. I've had dreams where, you know, I was taken, you know, up to heaven and I saw something coming to the earth. Like I was literally in a dream. I had the power of levitation and then I actually started flying. I went towards, I was outside of the earth and I was in space. Okay. And then I was looking at the planets and stuff and I saw this object coming. And then I flew back towards the earth, and I told this man, he was so worried about money. People, you got to let go of your possessions, okay? This material stuff is not, you can't take that to heaven with you. I'm sorry, okay? You cannot take this with you. This stuff is not important. It's not important. But when I came back down, that's what that man, he was trying to like rob me. All of this stuff was going on, and everybody knew that, you know, this object was coming close to the earth, and the only thing this person was thinking about was money. So that goes to show you, the Creator is showing me in a dream that everybody is so focused on money, 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 money. That's it. Everybody is so focused on getting money. But when this time come, ain't gonna be no money. All this stuff gonna be gone away. All your possessions, everything that you have could be gone. Just like that, in one day, everything could be gone. When all these disasters be striking these places, man, these people lose their homes. In one day, y'all. Floods and stuff. They losing everything that they have. Fires, their houses burning. They ain't got nothing. All of this stuff is gone so fast. Please, people, focus on spiritual things. This is the time to progress spiritually. Focus on you. Focus on your soul. Focus on your ascension. That is what's important right now in this day and time that we are living in right now. Okay, so I don't want to keep on talking, but I just wanted to let you guys know all of that. But definitely check out, you know, some of the plagues, you know, in the Bible that coincide with some of the things that's in the Kolbrin Bible, and put your mind together and see the connection between Nibiru, the children of Israel, and Yeshua returning. All right, I love you guys. Thank you all for listening, and we will be back later with another video.